Hello. Now, most businesses owners don't have a revenue problem. They have a clarity problem. You have done the hard work. You have launched, you have grinded, and you have seen some success. But now you've hit the ceiling, and the strategies that got you here won't get you there. Welcome to the Masterclass Pro. I am David Owner. And over the next few weeks, months, years, I'm stripping away the fluff and giving you the exact frameworks that most business owners use to remain successful. Now, here, we're not just talking about a theory, we are diving deep into the three pillars of sustainable growth: optimizing your system, mastering your high ticket sales, and reclaiming 10 hours of your week. By the time we are done, you won't just have a to do list, you'll have a roadmap that turns your business from a chaotic job into a streamlined asset. Most importantly, the doors are open. The masterclass begins. By the end of this, you will have an MBA in business management. So let us begin. Now, if you're trying to build a business, run a team, or just organize your own chaotic life, then I think this masterclass will be for you. This masterclass covers the first module in MBA series, the principles of management. Therefore, it will focus solely on management and what makes management. Now, you might think management is just about telling people what to do, but management is actually defined as the practice of continuously shaping organizations. So, if we are to put that into perspective, when we look at management, we say this is the process of continuously shaping people. So it's the process of continuously shaping not just people, but organizations. Because management, and sometimes people ask the question, why does management get paid a lot of money when the actual work they do is very little? And it is because of this. Management is the invisible force that turns a chaotic mob into a productive team. And today, in our lesson, we want to we want to look at the definition which we have seen, the nature and the scope of management. Now, every organization, whether it's a massive tech company, a small family run business, they deal with four specific types of inputs from their environment. There are four things that every management must be able to look at. What are these four things? Number one, management will automatically be looking at the human resources. So the first thing we have is human resources. And what are human resources? These are the talent and labor the business has employed. So the talent and the labor that the business has employed. That is the first. That is the first ingredients that make the organization, or that gives you the inputs from the environment. Number two are what we call the monetary resources. Number two are the monetary resources. And when we talk about the monetary resources, there are only two types of monetary resources: the cash and capital invested in the business. The cash and the capital. So we have this as our second ingredient and our second input into the business. The third one are physical resources. Physical resources. That is the third thing. And these ones are the raw materials the business has, and any equipment that the business will have. And the last main input that the business has is information resources. Information resources. So this is the fourth one. And this is the data and knowledge, the data and knowledge the business has access to. Now, assuming that you are a master chef, you are supposed to make a five-star meal, and you take these five or four raw materials and you leave them on the counter. You don't have a meal, you have a mess. Well, that is what you will have. Now, the job of the manager, your job as the manager, is to combine and coordinate these resources. You are the catalyst that transforms these inputs into a finished goal or into a finished product. There is a massive debate on businesses or in businesses about being efficient versus being effective. And yes, there is a difference. There's a very big difference between being efficient and being effective. So we say efficiency, if we were to look at it, means doing things in a systematic manner, doing things in a systematic manner without waste. In other words, when we talk about efficiency, we are talking about doing things right. Doing things right. So that is the core of efficiency. So when somebody is efficient, it means they are doing things right. Effectiveness, on the other hand, effectiveness, on the other hand, is about achieving the goal. Which goal? The organizational goal, the goal that has been set for the organization to achieve. To achieve that goal, we have to be effective. And what does this mean? It means doing the right things. Doing the right things. So you can either do things right or you do the right thing. Now, in businesses, both are important. Let's take, for example, you are digging a hole. If you have a high powered excavator, you are being incredibly efficient. You are removing that fast with minimal effort. But if you are digging that hole in the middle of your neighbor's living room instead of the construction site, you are not being effective. Great management is about balancing both, utilizing those four resources that we've talked about with to ensure that you are reach your goals with with minimum with minimum waste. And so the question that we ask ourselves is science a science is management a science or an art? Now we will get into that in our future videos. But for now, we need to understand that management is a system. It involves planning, organizing, staffing, leading, controlling. It's universal. It doesn't matter if you are the president of a country, if you are the prime minister, if you are a hospital administrator, if you are a football coach, no matter what you do, you will find that being an effective manager stands at a very critical point for you. Now, let's talk about the scope of management. This is where most things get interesting. There are threefold concepts developed by Harbison and Myers, and Most of the time, if you want to sound smart in boardrooms, you mention these three things, and those are the areas in which management thrive. Number one is management as an economic resource. Now, most economists view management as a factor of production, right alongside labor, and capital. The more industrialized a nation becomes, the more it needs managers. And you might ask why? And that is because productivity depends on how well you manage resources. So, as a business grows, as a country develops, we need more managers to manage the three resources, to manage the land, to manage the labor, and to manage the capital. And that is where the idea that management is an economic resource comes in. And so you might ask, where is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship in itself is management. One role of an entrepreneur is management, and then the entrepreneur will have managers operating below them, and so creating this tiered system that works. The second one is the management as a system of authority. Now, historically, this is how management started. It is authoritarian. It is do it because I said so. Then it became paternalistic. Now, modern management shifts towards a democratic and participatory approach. It's all about synthesis, and that is what is important. The third thing is that management has a class and a status system. And this is what sociologists call the managerial evolution. Becoming a manager today isn't about who your father or your political connections are. It's based on what we call the elite of brains and education. It's a distinct social group on its own. And so management will thrive in all of this. So a manager must remember that one, they are an economic resource. Two, they are a system of authority. And three, they are a class and a status. So they must act as three. They must do things as these three parts demands of them. Here is a takeaway for today. Management is intangible. You can't touch it. It's an unseen force. You only know it's there by the result: high productivity, motivated people, and surplus. If you are the person responsible for directing efforts to help an organization achieve its goals, then congratulations, you are a manager. And that is it for today. I hope that we have learnt a lot from today's video. And in the next video, we are going to look at the purpose and importance of management. Basically, why bad management ruins everything and good management creates surplus. If you find this useful, hit like, and until the next lesson, class dismissed.